Let's bring in NBC News correspondent and anchor Yasmin Vossoughian, who is live outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. Also with us, former U.S. Attorney and MSNBC contributor Chuck Rosenberg and State Attorney for Palm Beach County, Dave Aronberg. Editor of the nonpartisan group Protect Democracy, Amanda Carpenter, is back along with us, as well as Elise Jordan, Rev Al. But Yasmin, let's start with you and the new concerns from one of the seated jurors. Tell us what's happening inside the courtroom.
This is, Mika, exactly what we had predicted would happen, but so far so good. So juror number 9 came in, had some concerns about media attention with the trial. It's something that we had predicted could feasibly happen after 2 days of thinking about really the gravity of this case, the nature of the case, the attention surrounding the case as well. They went into the judge's chambers. Both attorneys from both sides, both prosecution and defense, went into the judge's chambers as well to have a private conversation with juror number 9 as the former president of the United States sat at the defense table all by himself because he said he didn't want to be involved in any of the sidebar conversations. And as they emerged from the judge's chambers, it seems as if now juror number 9 is remaining intact and remaining inside this jury pool still. So still having those 12 members of the jury, 5 women, 7 men, with 6 alternates. Let's talk opening statements, guys, for a moment. And one thing else I want to add before we move on to opening statements, it seems as if the trial will go into recess at 12:30 this afternoon because a juror has a dental emergency that they need to attend to. So instead of a 2 p.m. recess because of Passover, it's now going to be 12:30 recess. Opening statements, 40 minutes from the prosecution, 25 minutes from the defense. This is shorter than we had expected. We thought it was going to be about 60 minutes to each. Let me just give you some context I'm getting from inside the courtroom, and that is because there's going to be a lot of dates, there's going to be a lot of details, a lot of storytelling in both of these opening statements, hence the reason why they don't want to overwhelm many of these jurors that are going to be sitting through these opening statements. What we expect from the prosecution, we don't know who's going to be delivering the opening statements from the prosecution side as of yet. It's going to be a story. It's going to be in the lead up to the November elections, the desperation of the former president in those final moments as the Access Hollywood tape came out. There was some back and forth as to whether or not the Access Hollywood tape can be admitted as evidence. They will not be able to play the Access Hollywood tape, but they can admit the transcript of the Access Hollywood tape as evidence. They will tell the story of how David Pecker approached Michael Cohen and said Stormy Daniels is going to come forward with her story about having had sex with Donald Trump back in 2006 and how she was going to go public with that story. They're going to talk about the payment of $130,000 made to Stormy Daniels, the payment of $150,000 made to Karen McDougal, who says she allegedly had an affair with Donald Trump back in 2006. As well. And then they will move to the defense for opening statements, who will talk about witness credibility, how Michael Cohen, how Stormy Daniels have an axe to grind. They'll talk specifically about the payments made by Donald Trump to Michael Cohen and said these were legal fees. This was an attorney who worked for Donald Trump for a very long time and that Donald Trump didn't know about what Michael Cohen was doing with both Stormy Daniels and with Karen McDougal in arranging these payments. And then on to that first witness that we are learning is David Pecker, who sat above AMI for almost 2 decades. And as I mentioned, helped arrange those payments to Karen McDougal. They'll talk about the Trump Tower meeting back in 2015. And they'll talk about the White House meeting in 2017 when David Pecker visited Donald Trump as he was the president of the United States. It is going to be a jam-packed day, but a short day, guys, as court will go into recess again at 12:30 this afternoon.
Hey everyone, MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.